daughter who I adore, she is 11, and I think she might be a genius, because she loves painting, and I've got this office in Birmingham, so I took her to the office to do some painting, and we painted this mural on the wall, and while we were painting it, I said to her, what do you think art is, just out of curiosity? And she thought about it, and she said, well, it's trust. And I said, what do you mean by that? And she went, well, if you trust something's good, then it is. I was like, fucking hell, that's the most profound thing anyone's ever said to me from an 11-year-old. So, have another go on the bong, what are you going to say next? When the meow meow came out, the things she was saying, extraordinary. About 4 years ago, a friend of mine, she doesn't live in Birmingham, she said, I've got this new boyfriend, and I'd love you to meet him, he's called Greg. And I said, they were coming to Birmingham. I said, why don't you pop round for drinks and nibbles? Or as Boris calls it, national lockdown. Bit of fun there, bit of old school fun there. And they came round, and I've got to be diplomatic about what I say about Greg, because they're still together. I don't like him. If he was a noise, he'd be, just a grey-suited alpha bellend, and he came into my house, and the first thing you see when you come into my house is a painting of a pride flag, and he immediately, literally just met him, he went off on one, he was like, oh, God, this they-them nonsense, for God's sake. There's a bloke at work that wants to be called they-them. It's he or she, isn't it? I was like, we've been very comfortably calling a grown man Pitbull for the last 20 years. We can deal with it of they and them. There's a man called The Edge, and we've all been fine with that. I'd like to meet The Edge and wank him off just at the point of completion. Might be my favourite joke in the show, that, just because you have to finish it off yourselves. It's so neat. It's so neat. And Greg's wandering around my house, and he's an estate agent, Greg, and he was treating the whole thing like it was a valuation, going into all the rooms, going, And he went into the kitchen, which looked like this at the time. Perfectly nice, usable kitchen. There were issues with it. It had plaster that was falling away a bit. There was an outhouse at the back with an asbestos roof, but perfectly nice, usable kitchen. And he went into that room, and he went, how much you pay for this place? And I told him, and he went, what, for this? And I said, yeah. And he went, no. You've overpaid there. 20, 30 grand too much, I'd say. And I was so annoyed, because he's absolutely right. I'm terrible at negotiating, and I checked with a friend of mine who's an estate agent as well after he'd left, and she said, yeah, he's probably right, 20, 30 grand too much, but it doesn't matter in the long run, does it? You love the house, you don't want to leave, it doesn't matter. I was like, it does matter, because Greg cannot win. So I've spent the last 4 years trying to get my house price up simply to fuck off Greg. Started by getting the outhouse done. I had it knocked down. Here is a photo during that process. Caption for that was, I thought it was a fart. It's all good fun, it's good fun. Could have gone with them shitting bricks. There were so many options to me. And I was genuinely obsessed with how to get my house price up. I was doing all my research, and I landed on this article in the Mail Online, which reads, the black market, how having a famous blue sign on a home adds prestige and can push up its value. Now, I looked into this. You only get a blue plaque if someone famous has died in the house, and I thought Alan Sugar's not ready for the Ford Fiesta, but I thought a plaque is something to commemorate the building. Lovely idea. So I contacted this woman. Her name is Yvonne Mosquito. That's her actual name. And she was the Lord Mayor of Birmingham. And I wrote to her. I said, yes, a wonderful woman. I wrote to her. I said, dear Lord Mayor Yvonne Mosquito, I live in a mid-terrace house in King's Heath, and I'm having my kitchen extended. I'd like to invite you to open said kitchen with a grand ceremony, to which I'll also invite many dignitaries, Paul Chuckle and Alison Hammond. The Lord Mayor did not reply to this message, but her assistant did, and said, unfortunately, the Lord Mayor does not attend private events, but we wish you success with the grand opening of your kitchen extension and hope you have a lovely time. I thought that was a very sweet email. Issue is, she said it's because it's a private event, thus giving me a loophole. Mummy loves the loopholes. So I said, well, if this is a ticketed event and thus not a private event, would that change things? We could sell tickets for charity. Long story short, this happened.
And Joe Lycett has hosted an official opening for his new kitchen extension.
Everybody, and declare your kitchen extension open.
What a corker of a day, what a corker of a crowd, and what a corker of a kitchen.
Yeah, that happened. I was on Midlands Fucking Today. My favourite show ever. Shafali did the weather live from the kitchen. I just couldn't believe it. I love Shafali. Nick Owen, who hosts the news, a lovely man, he tweeted before saying, ridiculous, I know, but we're live from comic Joe Lycett's house tonight, where the Lord Mayor of Birmingham is officially opening his new kitchen. Real red carpet job. Plus the surge in gang war in Wolverhampton. I'm a bigger news story than gang war in Wolverhampton. I was over the fucking moon. I was so drunk for the whole day, as you can imagine. At one point, I didn't even realise I was on television.
So, how did it all go, Shafali?
Well, I think it went brilliantly, actually.
There was a rally last summer, a rally in Birmingham. You might have seen this picture from it. This is a girl called Sophia Khan. She was facing up to one of the EDL members with this... Yes, she's amazing, Sophia Khan. With this serenity and calmness on her face, with all this aggression from the EDL member. In the weeks preceding this rally, I discovered somebody I went to school with, who I am erroneously still friends with on Facebook, is a member of the EDL and was trying to generate support for this rally with his own Facebook group. Now, I like to troll people on social media using various aliases that I create, so I went on as Angela Middlebin. And I wrote, "Hi guys, looking forward to the rally in Brummie later. Think it'll be a lovely day for it. I work in PR with some high-profile right-wing and right-leaning commentators, such as Katie Hopkins, Piers Morgan, and Fern Britton." Now, Fern Britton is, I don't think, right-wing in any way, but she blocked me on Twitter, so fuck her. I know, Fern Britton, of all people, I felt like I've been blocked by Gandhi. I'm now unblocked, I should mention that. It's a long story, really. I won't go into it. There was a threat on her life. Let's move on. She'll be dead by dusk. She's actually a very nice lady. I continued. "One of my clients brought to my attention the fact that there is an organisation already using the name EDL. This is all true, I did some research. It is a company called Électricité du Liban and supplies electricity to the country of Lebanon. According to recent stats, Lebanon is 54% Muslim, which means, in effect, that the EDL is powering Muslims. As a result, I think an immediate rebrand of the EDL and change of name ahead of the rally is necessary. I've discussed this with my colleagues in the office, and we have come up with the name Eyes on Islam, or ISIS for short. See you all there, love Angela. Within 3 minutes, somebody called Ben put, join ISIS sounds a lot like ISIS. Well done, Ben! He suggested, what about UK Defence League? You could have @UKDL on Twitter. Now, I did some research into this to see if this is viable. Unfortunately for Ben, it's not. There's already an @UKDL account on Twitter. It's private, but you can read the blurb. This is the blurb. "We all start off in nappies. Many of us will end up in them. So why not enjoy them in between as well?" It's an adult nappy wearer, which... Fine. Each to their own, you do you. But I'm not sure the vibe the EDL's going for. So I suggested, what about the Islamic Cessation Group, or ISIS for short? Ben put, still sounds like ISIS. Well done, Ben! I put, how about Islam should immediately stop, or ISIS for short? He worked it out then. He put, fuck off this group, Angela. I said, OK, Ben, sorry for the hassle. I've got to go to the opticians anyway. Got a pus-filled growth on my cornea. I think it's an eye cyst. Bit of pun fun there. First thing I wanted to do, get in the press, get some column inches. First port of call, got to be the Birmingham Mail. They've been great friends to me over the years. They call themselves Birmingham Live online, and they write about me lots. They wrote about the mayor opening the kitchen extension. They also just basically write anything. Joe Lycett still writes to Santa every year. Joe Lycett spots hilarious problem with Waitrose £1.80 tomatoes. This is why Joe Lycett was in Tamworth. Who gives a shit? But they write. And I thought, if I can get the Birmingham Mail, it'll get people talking. So Ken did a big long press release, big email explaining that King's Heath was now an official neighbourhood, used his sign-off, you can only ever be yourself unless you're Ken Roberts. And lo and behold, a few weeks later, they ran an article. King's Heath, named alongside San Francisco and Ibiza as LGBTQ-friendly neighbourhood. So based on that, and also just because I'm turning 30 this year, I've moved out. I've moved into an up-and-coming area of Birmingham. Whether it'll up or come or not, I don't know. It's called King's Heath, the area that I'm in. Oh, can I have a lift? I thought I was finding a nice place, really, but it's a bit of a dump. And, there's, damp in there and all sorts of problems. And my dad, who's just retired, he's taken over as project manager of the project. Official reason for this is that I'm too busy to coordinate all of the works myself, couldn't possibly do it all myself. The real reason is I can't speak to tradesmen. I tried to speak to the electrician over WhatsApp. He doesn't like an emoji. Oh! 4 aubergines, he got very confused. amazing. He seems to know, he was a teacher before he retired. He knows loads of stuff about houses. He goes up to floorboards and he'll go, yeah. Won't tell me what that means, but he knows something. There was a door that needed fixing. He just came round and made and fitted a door. I was like, how do you know to do that? You're a teacher. He's like, I don't know, I just sort of know from birth. From birth? Sorry, all the other kids are in the nursery crying. You're there making a trestle table. Come on, mate. I think what happens, it has to. When you become a father, you go to some sort of dad's school where they teach you how to do all of this shit, but not how to get emotion into a text message. The messages I sent to father, long rambling endeavours, just landed, wonderful holiday, food was fantastic, weather was glorious, happy to be back, but sad to not be in that wonderful weather. How are you? Is all well? The reply will just be, yes, fine. Are you a hostage? Some of the resistance was because we do have a gay village in Birmingham. It's called the Gay Village. It's in the centre of town. And I went out there not long after all this had started, and I went to a place called Sequin Showstoppers, where they sell drag clothes. I was trying on some bits. It was a day-drinking day, you can tell from my eyes. Hello, darkness, my old friend. And after I'd left Sequin Showstoppers, went for a few pints and ended up at a house party with about a dozen gay guys, and they were all talking about it. And I was so drunk, I didn't want to give anything away. And this one guy started, and he was like, have you seen that King's Heath's a gay village now? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, it's probably just like one bloke who set up a website. And I was like, yeah, probably. And a limited company and a bank account, actually. It was quite complicated, actually. It was quite involved, actually. And then this other guy popped up out of nowhere, and he was so cross about it. He was like, I'm sorry, King's Heath is not a gay village. In no world is King's Heath a gay village. We have a gay village in town. It's called the Gay Village. They have a pride march there every year. And I was like, oh, right, is that what you have to do to be a gay village? You have a pride march? And he went, yeah. And I was like, oh. So that was the final piece in the puzzle. In order to convince the gays that King's Heath was a gay village, I had to run a pride march. Now, immediately, as Ken emailed the Hare and Hounds, and Adam Regan, who runs the Hare and Hounds, very nice man, he replied very positively, but said, this is quite big to deal with over email. We should speak about this on the phone, really. I'd not been keen speaking on the phone as Ken, because I'm not great at accents, but it was time for Ken Roberts to speak on the phone.
Hello?
Adam Regan, it's Ken Roberts from the Gayborhood Foundation.
Hello, mate.
I wanted to talk about doing a pride march in King's Heath.
Oh, right, okay. 26th of September, yeah, I'll pencil that now. I'll wait for you to confirm it.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Regan. I'll leave you to your day. Remember, you can only ever be yourself unless you're Ken Roberts.
Thanks, Ken. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye. I'm doing a pride march in 3 weeks. There was an archway in the living room, and it had a fireplace in it years ago, and I didn't know what to do with it. And he went, oh, you like posh things? Oh, you like posh things? Why don't you get a log burner? So I got a log burner on his advice, since discovered from a quite sanctimonious friend of mine, shouldn't have got a log burner. They came round, they were like, actually, you shouldn't have got a log burner, actually. It's very bad for the environment to burn logs. I'll send you a book about it. And to be fair, the book burnt beautifully. That was lovely. Farrow and Ball paint, he suggests. He's like, oh, you like posh things? Get posh paint, Farrow and Ball paint. Farrow and Ball has a shop in Solihull in the Midlands, in Birmingham. Solihull, it's still Birmingham, but it's the posh part of Birmingham. So there's still vomit on the streets, but there's Monge 2 in it in Solihull. The colour names in Farrow and Ball, elephant's breath. Grey. That's an abstract name they've given to grey. I think you should be able to go into Farrow and Ball with your own colour names, abstract names, and they just have to create the colour they think you're on about. You go and say, yes, I was thinking of painting the living room, disappointed wife. Just see what they come up with. I was thinking in the bedroom, David Dickon, your son, just whatever they think that is. Well, the guy in the Farrow and Ball shop, so posh, he was like, you know, it's like that. The Birmingham Mail had run another article. I'd managed to book some drag performers. Fat Butcher agreed to perform. He's a wonderful drag performer. Wonderful. If you don't know Fat Butcher, I did a live show on Channel 4, a Pride show, and Fat Butcher did poppers in the background, directly on national television. So that's my career dangling by a thread. Thank you, Fat Butcher. She's in. There was excitement in the area. And then the night before the Pride, I'd been so excited about all the little details and getting all into the granular bits of it, I hadn't looked at the burner phone. And I looked down at the burner phone, and there was a voicemail. Here is that voicemail.
Good afternoon, this is Sergeant for West Midlands Police. This is a message for Ken Roberts. Mr. Roberts, I'm trying to get hold of you as the other police officers have been trying over the last day or so in relation to a possible event happening over this weekend in King's Heath, High Street. Could you ring me back, please?
My first thought was, fuck! This is a police officer trying to contact someone I've invented about an event that is almost certainly illegal. I had started to have a panic attack again. For some reason, one of my triggers is I think I'm going to go to jail at some point in my life. I don't think I'll thrive there. And in my panic, I told a friend everything. I told the first person I told everything to, because she's a lawyer and a friend, and I thought she could help me. She sent me a series of WhatsApps. Here's the first one. I'm not a criminal lawyer, Joe, so not entirely my world. But from what I can see, you've been pretending to be someone else with multiple people in an attempt to run a public event. I'm guessing you haven't done a risk assessment. Have you got public liability insurance? What if someone is hurt? What if there's an accident? This is all happening tomorrow. You have a large inflatable. Will the unicorn obstruct traffic? Do you have council permission? There are so many legal problems here, I actually don't know where to start. Next message. I don't know, but you might be in breach of the Fraud Act 2006, Section 2. Here is that act. It states you are committing an offence if you pretend to be someone else and attempt to gain from this. Are you attempting to gain from this? I'm trying to get my house price up. I was in Moseley Post Office in Birmingham, if you know Birmingham. There's 2 tills. There's one here, there's one here. On this till was a very young, very loud, very attractive, young, effervescent girl. She was wearing a Cath Kidston coat. She was going off like a human barocca. She was annoying. She's sort of girl who has live, laugh, love written in her living room, but has also been done for GBH. Do you know, she's an annoying person here. And then here was a really elderly, sort of octogenarian, crunched-over old woman, quite poor-looking, sort of Mary Berry if she didn't have money, just sort of crunched over like that. And she's going, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. She kept saying that, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. And in the end she went, I can't hear you because you're shrieking! And I said to Linda, I said, I don't know what it was, but in that moment, the way she took control of that situation, the way she extinguished all of this woman's joy, the way everyone was looking at her, I thought she was so attractive, so beautiful. Obviously, I wouldn't do anything about it. And Linda was like, oh, what, are you ageist? I was like, no, I wouldn't do anything about it because she's poor. But the point is, there's all sorts of new identities flying around at the minute, new ways to describe yourself, and I think that's wonderful. But you've got 2 options when you encounter someone with an identity that you're not familiar with. You can be fearful of them, frightened, take the piss out of them, or be fascinated, ask them loads of questions, be curious. Kind of like when I first saw a platypus. I think they're amazing. They're mammals, they lay eggs. What the fuck are they? The first platypus that scientists found, they found a dead one. They did some scientific tests. Their conclusion, it's a fake. They thought that someone had sewn together a duck and an otter. Begs the question, who did they think was doing this? Like, oh, that's Martin, he loves doing that, Martin. Other day he brought this in, said it was a porpoise, obviously a dolphin and a bell end. Classic Martin, man.